I'm HG Tudor, and welcome to the 100,000 subscriber interviews, a series of short interviews with people who have harnessed my work and seized the power. My next guest is ready, so let's find out more about them. Hello, what's your name and where are you from?
My name's Isabel and I'm from France.
Hello, Isabel. Thank you for joining me today. Let's get straight into the questions. So, how did you find my work?
I found your work 2 years ago. I Googled mind games in English and I came across your videos on your previous YouTube channel, Knowing the Narcissist. I quickly found the link to your blog there and started reading all the articles.
Excellent. Straight in through YouTube and the blog. And
Yeah.
What was the narcissist situation that brought you to my work, Isabel?
I had been in a relationship with a man for about 8 months, and I was desperately trying to escape from him at that point. I suspected that he could be a narcissist because some of his behaviors reminded me of my mother, who was a narcissist herself.
Okay. And that situation with this man, how was it affecting you?
It was affecting my mental health badly. I was totally confused as to the nature of our relationship and my place in it. A friend had told me just a month before that she had never seen me looking so sad. In a word, I was a wreck.
Yeah. Okay. And when she said that she hadn't seen you looking so sad, did you accept that or were you in denial?
No, I accepted it. I knew I was feeling really, really sad, really at the end of my life, almost.
Okay. Okay. Now, which of my books have you read?
I've read quite a few. I've read Red Flag, Sitting Target, Fuel, Fury, Sex, No Contact, Fear and the Empathic Victim, and Revenge. But this one was really out of interest, not to
Sure.
see revenge, even though some passages uh, were very appealing. But no, I didn't.
I can understand that.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes, Revenge is one of those books that people read it and go, I'm implementing this forthwith, or other people go, no, I can't bring myself to do that, but nevertheless, it still felt good to know that I could. So understandable. And of those many books that you've read, Isabel, which did you find the most useful and why?
I would say red flag because I now pay attention to the potential red flags whenever I meet someone new. I'm very wary now. And so, yeah, red flag, absolutely. I think it's a must read. And keep and reread.
Good. Yes, absolutely. Keep its contents as watchword to your heart.
Oh, yes.
Excellent.
Also, Sitting Target, because it has helped me understand which of my behaviors can be seen as green lights by narcissists.
Yeah.
And finally, Fuel. It's really good to understand what drives a narcissist and to realize that no real truthful relationship is possible with a narcissist, and it is not my fault necessarily if it doesn't work.
Suitably empowering, realizing that it's not your fault, because as you know, many empathic individuals suffer from that self-flagellation of believing that it's your fault, and of course we have to make it your fault for reasons that you're fully conversant with. Okay, now which product from the Knowledge Vault has helped you the most, and you can tell me a little bit about that.
Definitely The Final Battle. That's my number one. The Final Battle, How to Stop Thinking About the Narcissist. Because it literally saved my sanity in relation to the narcissist that brought me to your work. It works. It's very efficient, and it really saved me. Yeah.
Excellent. Now, you and I have spoken many times over quite a long period of time, and although as a consequence of the success, we haven't spoken just recently, which is all to the good for you. But what made you organize an audio consultation with me?
The first audio consultation was about that man that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Because I needed to understand what had happened to me, why he had behaved as he had towards me. And of course, I was ashamed of having been manipulated as I had. And your answers gave me closure, something I simply could not have had with him, and I needed it badly.
Yeah. Now, you also have had, if we might just touch on this, because I think it'd be interesting for people listening, given your experiences. So you came to me with a romantic scenario, but we also discussed some other scenarios as well, didn't we? Perhaps you'd like to expand upon that a little bit, if you would.
I think I had known for a long time that my mother was a narcissist, but maybe that's why I was trapped with in relationships with other narcissists later, because to me, my mother was what a narcissist was always like. But of course, I found out that they come in different guises. So I needed to, and also it was a way of telling you my story, giving you my story with my mother. So that also it was important, because I did that narc detector not long before she died, and I think it helped me around the time that she died. And also, I think it was even before I did the narc detector on my mother, I had to send you. I had to send you a narc detector. Yes, to fill in the narc detector about my daughter.
Yes.
Because that was troubling me an awful lot. Of course, you had also given me the response for a narc detector about her father. And he is a narcissist as well. And I would say that, of course, it's totally different from the romantic situation with that man. But I would say, in a way, this problematic relationship with my daughter was, of course, even more important to me, even more problematic, because I felt it was my fault, of course, that she had turned out as she had. That is a narcissist. But speaking with you was the best, that because your advice was the best that you could give me. Although, if you remember, at first I was reluctant to take it.
Yes, you were.
What I said to you was, please don't tell me to go no contact with her.
Indeed.
Like very professionally, but very in a very straightforward way. He said, well, look, you do as you like, but I give you my advice. And yes, you are right, of course. But the fantastic thing is that you were able to explain how, in some circumstances, even if it's not the best thing to do, there's always the almost no contact possibility. And that absolutely saved me. And now I can even say we have a rather good relationship with my daughter, because I keep my distance and we don't see each other too much. And I know much better how to deal with her. And I'm completely at peace with that now.
Good. That's good to hear. Now, when you did speak to me that first time, cast your mind back. How did you feel about it?
Oh, I felt extremely nervous. Extremely nervous, yes.
Yes. What did you attribute that to? What was it? The subject matter? Was it me? Combination of the two?
No, it was not the subject matter in itself. It was speaking to you, because I must say something. Until I think it's only very recently that I have come to believe completely that you are a narcissist, because I don't know if it's emotional thinking or what, but I had my doubts. But I believe you. I mean, you say so I believe you. But even though I had those doubts, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to speak to a narcissist, and not the not greater, an ultra, and my nervousness was in relation to I was afraid of asking really stupid questions.
Yeah.
Being really stupid. Yeah. So that was why I felt nervous. I thought
Yeah.
he's going to think that's so obvious, or that I don't know. It was only my fears.
Indeed, but it's interesting for you to share them for other people who there'll be those that have spoken to me and recognise that as their initial fear, and how that obviously eased as a consequence of their interaction with me, and then others who haven't, to think, yeah, I'm a little bit reluctant to speak to him, but it's useful for people to hear that so that they realise that I don't bite.
That's right. Not at all.
Not in the professional setting, at least. Good. Okay. So you mentioned you're at peace with obviously the situation with your daughter.
Yes.
Your mother passed away, so that cured that aspect of things.
Yeah.
And obviously, I helped you with a romantic entanglement, and there was another one that came along that we dealt with. But as I alluded to earlier on, we've not spoken for a little while. So where are you now generally with narcissists?
I am afraid that I have just run into another one.
Okay.
But with the narcissists that I have, I had in my life before, that's over. But those stories are over, and I'm in no contact except with my daughter. But I think that now I am so careful, because for me, as you know, it's a question of life or death. So I really need to be very careful. I know it can upset me too much to be in a relationship with a narcissist. So I'm very wary, and as soon as I think that I can spot red flags, I turn to you for a new narc detector. And I'm very
That's entirely sensible to have trained yourself to sniff out the suggestion and then turn to the expert. So I'll expect that narc detector submission in the next week then.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Now then, what part of my work has helped you the most, and why?
Certainly the audio consultations.
Yeah.
Because I always have plenty of questions.
Yes.
Your answers and advice have always really helped me tremendously. And your blog has helped me too. I think it's wonderful that you have set up this blog and given us the possibility to interact with others who have experienced similar situations.
Good. I'm pleased that you find that edifying and useful. What would you like to learn more about, Isabel?
I would like to learn more about what creates an empath. Even though you've touched on it in a video about Will Smith, and I thought it was fantastic to see how similar causes could give different outcomes, because each time you said this, could this have made him a narcissist or an empath?
Yes.
And there's one aspect in particular. I'm not sure, but I get the feeling that especially adult children of narcissists have in common this fear of abandonment. I'm not sure, but that's what I sense, and it tends to spoil the beginning of my relationships, because I get anxious and nervous too much with certain people anyway. So I would like to learn how to beat this fear of abandonment, or at least reduce it.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. There is, as you know, work in progress with regard to explaining the creation of the empath and different types. So you'll certainly enjoy digesting that once I finish producing it all. So whilst we're talking about empaths, do you identify as an empath? And if so, do you know your school and cadre?
I do. I took your empath detector.
Yes.
And I have an even spread of all 4 schools. So I am a perfect hybrid.
Perfect hybrid. Yes, quite rare. So, yeah.
And my cadre is savior.
Okay, that's the majority one, yes?
Oh, yes, overwhelmingly.
Overwhelmingly so. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. What do you think of Narcissists now, having accessed all of my work and worked your way through the various entanglements and come out on the other side from all of those? What do you think of Narcissists now?
I certainly don't hate them.
Mm-hmm.
I understand clearly now that it is a self-defense mechanism,
Yes.
and that's why I find it always really strange when people talk of morals in relation with narcissism or even evil. It's not that's not what I would say at all, except for my president, maybe. Haha.
Funny enough, as you're talking, part of my triple tracking mind had gone in the direction of the recent election. So lesser of two evils, yes?
Well, yes, obviously, but still an evil. But
Yeah.
anyway.
I thought that would be the answer that you'd give. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. And in fact, as far as narcissists are concerned, the more I am learning about narcissists and empaths, and the clearer it becomes to me that we are not so far removed from each other in some way.
That's right. I've often talked about that, how if you envisage a clock face, if you go from 5 past midnight to 5 to midnight, clockwise, that's a long way round. And so empaths and narcissists are poles apart from one another. But if you go anti-clockwise, we're not that too far removed. So I agree with you about that. Yeah. And what's your favorite aspect of my work, Isabel?
The fact that it is possible to have access to you directly in audio consultations, and your humor, of course, obviously, both when you speak and in your articles and books.
Yes. Thank you. And finally, what's your message to people listening to you today?
I would say do not hesitate to arrange audio consultations, because the nervousness before the consultation fades away very quickly thanks to your humor and professionalism, HG. And I would say also be ready to follow HG's advice, even if you think it is impossible at first, it's not. And I would add that, like with any addiction, it's important to keep informed and continue to learn. It helps to keep emotional thinking down, and that's essential.
Marvelous. Isabel from France, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you very much for having me.